Good morning, students. Now we are dealing wastewater management subject. The unit one. The subtopic is process water for sugar mills. Guys, today our topic is sugar mill waste and water process for sugar mill waste. Here clearly I will explain the detailed procedure. Here production of sugar from sugarcane is a seasonal operation depending on the availability of sugarcane, which lasts from October to May. Sugarcane can also be here. Yes, sugarcane can also be produced from beet. The production activity being limited to about 100 days in a year. As a result of its seasonal nature, sugar industry presents peculiar problems for pollution control. Here, what is the production from sugarcane? Cane cut from the fields is washed in water, cut into small pieces, and crushed to extract the raw juice. This operation produces a solid waste in the form of bagasse, which is a raw material for paper making. The juice is then heated to 102 degrees centigrade. Its pH is adjusted between 7.6 and 7.8 with lime, and it is settled in multi multi tray. Clarifies to remove suspended solids and unreacted lime from the juice. The sludge thus produced is called lime mud. It is dewated on vacuum filters and the filtrate is recycled. The dewatered lime mud is disposed of. The clarified juice is treated with sulfur dioxide to remove its pale yellow color. Double carbonation may also be done. The juice is then heated further to remove moisture from it and is then passed through vacuum pans and crystallizers for further removal of moisture and to encourage crystallization. Moisture content of the juice at inlet to the crystallizer is about 46%. Centrifugation of the juice separates the crystals from the remaining moisture. This liquid is called molasses and is the raw material for production of alcohol. The sugar crystals sticking to the wall of the centrifuge are scraped off, sieved, graded, and packed in bags. A general manufacturing flow sheet as given in the figure. Guys, here I will explain clearly the figure. Here, the process is water for juice extraction, raw cane is cutting and low BOD wastewater. Uh, Next, water for bearing cooling, the crushing and only hot water and baggage, and next to boiler as fuel or to paper or mill or to composting with distillery or spent wash line. Lime treatment, lime treatment and lime treatment and clarification. Next, clarification to lime sludge to vacuum filter, and again vacuum filter to clarification, or lime mud to like to mill or to compressing with distillery or spent wash. Sulfidation. Here and water. Water here for cooling, for barometric condenser or for cooling. Here for cooling, evaporation, vacuum pan and a centrifuge. And from the vacuum pan, uh, hot water to cooling pond, backup strip mats to store the to distillery. Next, sieving and bagging. This is the cane sugar manufacturing flow diagram. Here, the operation of washing and crushing cane is done in the mill house, while the remaining operations are done in the boiling house. A rough breakup of water consumption per day per ton cane crush in the various operations in the mill is the following. Mill house 730 liters and boiling house and floor wash 230 liters, filter cloth wash 360 liters, condenser and cooling 1640 liters. Sapkil and Gunjal one have survived 8 sugar mills in Maharashtra and measured the wastewater flows from them, ranging from 945 meter cubes per a day to 2389 meter cubes per a day, depending on their crushing capacity. And Verma and their co in a survey of 25 factories in western Uttar Pradesh with a crushing capacity from 900 tons to 3,600 tons per a day. Estimated water consumption ranging from 10,600 meter cube per a day to 38,700 meter cube per a day, or 10.6 meter cube per ton of cane crush. A survey of 4 typical Kandasari sugar units in South India by raw showed water consumption from 6.6 meter cube per a day to 11.6 meter cube per a day, or 44 liters to 78 liters ton of cane crusher. These are small scale units and work for 4 to 5 months in a year from December to April. The sugar produced is incompletely refined and has therefore a brownish white color. Characteristics of wastewater. The characteristics of wastewater streams produced from various operations are given here. The characteristics of combined wastewater from the sugar mill are tabulated here. The temperature, the range of volume 30 to 40 degrees, and pH 4.6 to 6.0. Dissolved solids 100 to 1000 to 1200, and suspended solids the range is 250 to 300. Oil and grease 5 to 10. The COD is 2000 to 3000 and BOD is 1000 to 1500. All values except pH and temperature are milligram per liter. Here, disposal of wastewater. Sugar mills are almost always located in rural areas where the raw material is easily available. Therefore, disposal of the raw wastewater may be done on land for irrigation. direct disposal into nullas or streams in the vicinity of the mill leads to stagnation and generation of abonaceous. Here, industrial wastewater treatment. Here all values except pH are milligram per liter and temperature in degrees centigrade. Here mill house temperature 25 to 30, pH 5 to 5.5 and dissolved solids 350 to 400, suspended solids 500 to 550, oil and grease 30 to 50, COD is 1000 to 1500, BOD is 700 to 1000 milligram per liter. And also for boiler house. For boiler blowdown, temperature is 85 to 90, pH 5.5 to 60, dissolved solids 450 to 500, suspended solids 50 to 100, and COD is 500 to 550, BOD is 30 to 40. And boiling house, in boiling house temperature is 40 to 60 and pH for 4.5 to 5.0 and dissolved solids 400 to 450, suspended solids 400 to 660, oil and grease is 5 to 510 5 to 10 milligram per liter, and COD is 2000 to 3000, BOD is 1500 to 2000. Next, here the excess condensate. Excess condensate is temperature 60 to 17 and 60 to 17, pH 6.0 to 6.2, dissolved solids 80 to 1000, suspended solids 5 to 10, and COD no COD 25 to 300, BOD 100 to 150, and sulfur house. Sulfur house temperature is 30 to 35 and here no pH and no dissolved solids, no suspended solids, no oil and grease and no COD, no BOD. Here lime house. Here Limehouse, temperature for 25 to 30, pH 9 to 10, dissolved solids 14,000 to 1400 to 1500, and suspended solids 3500 to 4000, oil and grease 4 to 6, COD 220 to 250, BOD 1000 to 150. And here rotatory filter wash 25 to 25 to 35, pH 6.2 6.8, and the dissolved solids 2000 to 3000, and the suspended solids 2600 to 4200, and here COD is 12,000 to 3000, BOD 1000 to 2500, and last one is floor and boiler washing. For this, no temperature, pH is 7.0 to 7.2, dissolved solids to 2200 to 2500, suspended solids 2100 to 2300. Here oil and grease no, and COD is 1000 to 2400, and BOD 800 to 800 to 2000. These here the this is the disposal of the wastewater. Smell. The wastewater also becomes black in color. The characteristics of the wastewater show that it can pollute the land as well as groundwater. Further, the COD ratio versus BOD ratio is favorable for subjecting the wastewater to biological treatment. Hence, it is proper to consider this form of treatment, keeping in mind that this is a seasonal industry and the treatment units will get a raw wastewater for limited period of time. Choice of the treatment method has to be made accordingly. Next, treatment of wastewater. Plain settling. Here, in the treatment of wastewater, the stages is plain settling, anaerobic digestion, and treatment in lagoons, activated sludge process, trekking filtration, solid waste. These are the stages. So now treatment for wastewater is the important and plain setting. In laboratory columns, plain setting of wastewater was studied by Rajagopal and Bhargav. Data collected from the column settling tests were used to develop families of curves between overall percent removals versus overflow rate and detention time. Based on these curves, an equation relating overall removal, initial suspended solids concentration, and overflow rate was offered for the design of primary settling tank with initial suspended solids concentration up to 450 milligram per liter. In order to account for turbulence, inlet and outlet conditions and other factors which can affect settling process in actual practice. They also recommended that the calculated overflow rate be divided by a factor ranging from 1.25 to 1.75 and detention time multiplied by a factor from 1.5 to 2.0. The next step is the anaerobic digestion. Anaerobic digestion of the wastewater was studied by Sinha and Thakur. They used laboratory scale digesters maintained at 36 degrees centigrade. Hydraulic retention times of 6 days. 3 days and 2 days were tried out at different organic loading rates. They observed that BOD removal efficiency ranged between 88.8% and 95.8%. Volatile fatty acids never exceeded 1400 milligram per liter as acetic acid, and a sudden increase of volatile acids by 200 to 300 milligram per liter in 24 hours resulted in a stuck digester. The maximum BOD loading rate was 15.58 kilogram per meter cube. A pilot scale study was conducted for 2 years by Ramajivan and Co. Using 1 meter cube capacity USB reactor, they concluded that USB reactor offers a viable solution for handling sugar mill wastewater at a retention time of 6 hours and an average temperature of 26 degrees centigrade. A loading rate of 12.5 kilogram COD per metric cube for a day gave 90% destruction of influent COD and a methane production of 0.2 metric cube per kg. COD destroyed. The calorific value of the gas was 15 to 20 metric cube, but the infield required nutrient supplementation, alkali addition at the rate of 0.6 per gram of influent COD accounted for nearly 70% of the annual running cost. Here, Faroki and Co. characterized granular sludge developed on cane sugar mill waste and studied the effect of temperature and on methanoganic activity. Methanogenic activity, yield coefficient of methogene's effect of unfed storage of granular sludges at room temperature on its methanogenic activity and the physical characteristics of the sludge. They found that the granular sludge retained 50% of its methanogenic activity even after 100 days of storage. This factor is important for sugar industry, which is a seasonal industry. Further, the sludge was found no readily adapt to distillery waste and slaughterhouse wastes. Manjunath and co conducted continuous flow experiments at 30 degrees centigrade in a laboratory scale. UASB reactor loaded up to 13 kg COD meter cube for a day and a sludge loading of 1.25 kg VSS meter cube for a day. Corresponding hydraulic loading was 6 meter cubes per a day. Gas production up to 5 meters a day was obtained. It contained 70 to 75% methane. The seed sludge used came from a drugs and pharmaceutical industry effluent treatment plant. Radon and Ramanujam operated a modified rotating biological uh, contactor RBC with four compartments and fed it with the synthetic sugar cane waste water to study the biokinetic coefficients based on the Kiran Hornige and had some model. They got COD removal efficiencies up to 97% of COD inputs ranging from 1087 milligram per liter to 3257 milligram per liter. Sneha and studied the effect of the presence of water hyacinth in the oxidation pond treatment of a mixture of anaerobically digested sugar mill effluent and effluent from a septic tank. They observed that water hyacinth could thrive well in this mixture and in addition enhanced the rate of biological oxidation. It also coagulated turbidity from the wastewater and removed the color present in the wastewater. Mostly, anaerobic treatment in lagoons is widely practiced in the sugar industry. Aerobic lagooning is possible only if the organic load is limited to 60 kgs. As the waste has a high BOD, anaerobic treatment to knock out a bulk of the oxygen demand, followed by the aerobic pond system can produce a satisfactory quality effluent. This waste is high in carbohydrates but low in nitrogen and phosphorus. Hence, continuous nutrient supplementation either with chemicals or with domestic sewage is necessary. This offers the advantage of the maintaining continuity of sewage treatment even during the non-crushing season. Further, anaerobic organisms in these lagoons can be reactivated even after a long period of starvation. And Bhaskaran and Chakrabarati studied a combination of anaerobic and anaerobic pond pilot system. They found BOD reduction in anaerobic pond from 1600 milligram per liter to 550 milligram per liter in 7 days at a loading rate of 0.23 kilogram per meter cube per a day. This was followed by an oxidation pond loaded at 316 kg BOD for a day, which produced an effluent with a BOD ranging from 34 milligram per liter to 180 milligram per liter for a retention time of 13 days. When the retention period was reduced to 7 days and loading was changed to 325 kg per a day, the effluent BOD ranged between 41 milligram per liter and 180 milligram per liter. Gupta reports a BOD removal of 40 to 50% in anaerobic pond loaded at 0.08 to 0.56 kg BOD metric cube per a day, and batch treatment of sugar mill waste was successfully demonstrated in Australia. Shallow ponds 1 meter deep were operated in a batch mode. They become anaerobic for the first 3 weeks, during which time 70 to 90% BOD was removed. The combined effect of wind action and shallow depth of the ponds turned them into the anaerobic ponds. They gave they gave an effluent BOD of less than 30% milligram after a further retention period of 3 to 5 weeks. Raw and ETL treated composite wastewater with a BOD of 25,000 milligram per liter from a Kandasi sugar mill by plain settling, followed by a two-stage aerobic log-on and an anaerobic log-on. The effluent had a BOD of 30 milligram per liter. And activated sludging process. It has not been performed mainly because of the seasonal nature of the industry. It is adopted where land is not available for constructing ponds. Most full-scale plants treating about 5,000 metric cube per a day operate at MLSS of 2,000 to 4,000 milligram per liter. Annual startup may take about 5 weeks to develop MLSS of 2000 milligram per liter with molasses and sewage. A major problem with the a major problem with the activated sludge is bulking, which result in poor settling and rapid losses of biomass from the secondary clarifier. One or more of the following factors may be responsible for bulking: nutrient imbalance, low pH, low DO, and dissolved oxygen in the aeration tank, high organic loading greater than 0.7 kg BOD per kg MLSS for a day. A bond is equal to NP ratio of 1000 to is to 2 and 5 is to 0.52. 1000 is to 5 is to 1 was the recommended by Miller. Other applications of activated sludge process were described by Mike Nail and Simpson and Holmson and consisted essentially of two-stage aeration of combination of activated sludge process followed by extended aeration or anaerobic level followed by the anaerobic treatment. Here and tricking filtration. On a large scale, tricking filtration has not been favored because of long induction period, high recirculation rates for high strength waste, and the risk of blockages. Early experiments demonstrated BOD reductions from 70 to 90%. Media used was stone or plastic material. Two-stage filtration was done. The recirculation ratio varied from 1.8 to 4. And ETL reported the use of rotating biological contractor for treating sugar mill effluent. With more than 80% CO2 removals, and studied the viability of biogas generation from a mixture of press, mud, and domestic sewage. The optimum concentration of total solids in a mixture of sewage and pressed mud was found to be 5%. At this concentration, 80 meter cube of gas was produced per ton, against 65 meters cube per ton when only pressed mud was digested. The maximum seawater removal efficiency was found to be 70% with the biogas yield of 0.65 meter cube per kg COD. Nitrogen content in the digested sludge was found to be 2.32, hence it could be used as a fertilizer. And here solid waste is the last process. The two solid waste generated in the manufacture of sugar are bagasse and press mud. Bagasse is produced during the crushing operation. It has a calorific value of about 120 kilocalories per kg and is mainly used as a fuel in the factory of boiler. It can also be used as a raw material in paper making. Agarwal has suggested extraction of further from bagasse followed by production of single cell protein SCP without appreciably reducing its calorific value so that it can be used either as fuel or as raw material in paper making. Press press mud contains all non so sucrose impurities along with calcium carbonate, precipitate and sulfate. Pressmud from double sulfitation contains valuable nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, etc. and is therefore used as a fertilizer. Pressed mud from double carbonization is used as a landfill. So this is the wastewater treatment in sugar mills. So I will explain next class in next topic. Thank you guys.